and seems well on his way toward making a big impression on Martin Castillo. Next Saturday will be a special night of boxing programming here on HBO. On the East Coast, it's the premiere of the film Joe Louis, America's Hero Betrayed, followed by the live heavyweight unification fight Klitschko versus Ibragimov. On the West Coast, it's the live fight, followed by the Joe Louis film. That heavyweight fight marks the first time in more than 8 years that two heavyweight fighters, both with belts, have fought each other. Which means it's been way too long.
You've got him, he's cut. Come on, you've got to press him, press him, press him. Looks like the uppercut is doing good. Come on, there's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure, push him out.
CompuBox count of power punches through 2. And I said, so far it's a landslide. Montiel is 30 out of 66 in power shots. Castillo 11 out of 34. Fernando Montiel in the green trunks, Martin Castillo in the black.
Hey! Coloca la cabeza.
Fernando Montiel's only 2 losses were both to American fighters. Mark Johnson back in 2003. Johnny Gonzalez, who's functionally bigger than Montiel, in 2006. Martin Castillo's only 2 losses were both in Japan. The TKO loss to Nobuo Nashiro in 2006 at a moment when Nashiro had only had 2 professional fights. And a technical loss. Well, check it.
7.
The first one was a loss to Felix Machado in Reading, Pennsylvania. So one of the 2 losses was in Japan. Oh, did I say 2? Yeah, Nashiro had 7 professional fights. Thank you, Larry.
I feel crazy for even knowing that.
You are crazy. It's good that you feel crazy.
Montiel comes from a place where a lot of fighters come from. Las Mochis, I should say, Mexico. Jorge Arce being one of them. Presumably that would be a big fight if they ever faced off with each other.
Reputed to be a haven for boxers and beautiful women. That's what Montiel had to say. Just a few minutes ago, our Larry Merchant went to Kelly Pavlik's dressing room to speak to the middleweight champion about tonight's assignment.
Kelly, he wanted to fight you again 4.5 months later. What do you think that says about Taylor?
It shows that he's a world champ, you know, and that he wants to prove himself. You know, that wasn't that just that night that he lost, that it was, you know, in his eyes, he thinks that it was an accident that shouldn't have happened. To me, I love it. You know, coming out 4.5 months, I sat there and it gives me a chance to prove, you know, where everybody sits there and says, well, you know, you kind of got lucky in that fight, or this could have happened. Well, now I get my chance to prove to everybody that, hey, it was legit and I did it again.
Even though your championship is not at stake?
Well, it don't matter. It's the fact that I'm undefeated. It's the fact that it took me this long to get to this point in my career, and I don't want to do anything to jeopardize that. I don't want to give anything up, you know. So, you know, for me, it's the same as fighting for a title. You know, there's so much at stake, you know, for my integrity, my self-pride, everything.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
In fitting the interview in, we might have paid a little bit of short shrift to what happened at the end of the last round, where Montiel hammered Castillo with another left hook against the ropes. We looked at a replay between rounds to see whether we thought the ropes had held Castillo up, but in fact, no, he was crouching against him still. It was another definitive shot by Montiel, who's had a big first 3 rounds. Harold, how do you score it?
Okay, Jim, 3 rounds to nothing, 30-26, Fernando Montiel. Jim, you got to give him an extra point for the knockdown in round 1. That's a 10-8 round. I got a couple of observations. Number 1, Fernando Montiel stands straight up, which you'd never see with a Mexican junior bantamweight. I mean, he doesn't move his head at all. I don't know if it's giving him more power to stand straight up, but be as it may, that's the style he has. Number 2, Martin Castillo uses those winning gloves. That was the glove that Floyd Mayweather used to protect his hands, and certainly it has to take away from his punching power. 3-0, Montiel.
I believe Montiel is using the Reyes gloves.
He is.
Which are the so-called puncher's gloves because of the way the weight is distributed in them.
And usually if they bang heads, and now Joe Cortez will call time. Let's see if somebody's bleeding.
¿Está bien? A ver. ¿Está bien? Okay.
Está bien for Castillo. Está bien for Montiel. Usually if a fighter is wearing winning gloves, Emmanuel Stewart, it suggests that he's had hand problems and is protecting them, right?
I really, everybody's getting into the gloves now, and I don't see that. The things have changed so much, Emmanuel. In fact, the fact that most of the Mexican good fighters, Oscar De La Hoya and Julio Chavez, they all trained in the winning gloves, and I think Eric Morales too. So I don't see so much of the puncher's glove in the way it used to be.
Montiel once again ripping Castillo against the ropes with power shots. And I'll tell you, Martin Castillo just isn't in this fight in any way, shape, or form.
And he took a body shot that he may not recover from, Jim.
It's done. That is a knockout victory in the 4th round for Fernando Montiel. His most impressive win, a definitive performance. And certainly Castillo will no longer rank as the number 115-pounder in the world. That'll be either Montiel or Mijares, based on what we've seen tonight.
What happens when they fight each other, Emmanuel?
Wow, what a fight. It's going to be a boxer technician against a puncher. And that's going to be very interesting. It's good to see these small guys, particularly this fight here, to show such explosive punching power. I looked at, he got up at the count just enough to where he could be counted out. So really, Castillo really had given up. He said, that's it.
And here's another thing, Jim, we discussed earlier. This justifies what Montiel's father, Manuel, did when he decided that the Olympics was not the best path to develop his son as a fighter.
Now, that has not necessarily to do with the Olympics, but the character of the Mexican amateur program, and that was that left hook to the body. You saw it right there.
The Mexicans traditionally have not believed in having long amateur careers. They turned pro at early ages. You look at the history of Chavez.
Look how he puts his punches together here, Emmanuel.
Very well, moving in all the time. And even though Castillo had his defense up, he found the gaps to get to the delicate points in his body all the time while he had a perfect defense, and he still was getting through the gloves. And
you know what that reminded me of? Kelly Pavlik finishing Jermaine Taylor in Atlantic City, because he threw punches from every angle. Left hook, right cross, left to the body. Boom. Picking them very carefully.
A very professional job, and it's amazing because there was really no openings there, and he still finished up without missing any punch, and a variety of different punches.
Brilliant knockout victory for Fernando Montiel. He's the star of the night so far. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Joe Cortez reaches the 10 count at 1 minute 56 seconds, round number 4. The winner by knockout victory, still WBO Super Flyweight World Champion Fernando El Cocholito Montiel.
WBO's final numbers. Montiel virtually doubling Castillo in landed punches, throwing 50 more, landing at a significantly higher connect percentage, and many of these were crushing power blows. After the brilliant boxing you saw in the preceding 115-pound fight, this was like a 115-pound version of a heavyweight title fight. Two bombers going in and trying to knock each other out, and from the opening bell, it was Montiel who had the edge, landing more than twice as many power shots, as his fellow power puncher Castillo, throwing 58 more. And when you land more than 40% of your power shots, we've said it many times, you are likely to be winning the fight. They met first in Atlantic City on September 20.